I just have to throw
I
in
won't.
that, like,
It's really
Britain,
really weird that like you guys that like you're just two different socialists that want to spend the American dollar on different things. How about we just end the fucking drug war and then the cartels and so much of the crime that is in many of these South American countries
Well, hold on. I want to end the drug war.
Don't have nowhere near as much funding, and like we can have
Okay.
stability by just not violating people's rights. You don't have to spend a fucking dollar. You can just stop violating people's rights, and you'll save money and stabilize South America. Like, can we just do that without spending anybody's money?
That protects them.
That's not an argument. Like, make an actual argument.
Offended. Yeah, the argument that I'm making is that you don't have one. What is this? Like, can you point to any place in the world where the state has
pause. Hey, dumbass. I didn't bring it to that.
We only have so much time.
Make an argument.
Wait. We only have so much
Just
time.
make an argument.
Bosch finish his question, and then I'll give you Fabian, and I'm so sorry, like 10, 50 seconds to respond. Then I have to throw it to Adam.
It's just I'm feeling up my crystal ball right now, and I'm foreseeing 57 questions that are answered. But what if we let the private market do more in some abstract, nebulous way that's never been done because it doesn't work? I cede everything to Adam. Somebody with something interesting to say on the subject.
Yeah,
Well,
no,
you.
I
Right.
ceded.
Of course.
I ceded.
Of course.
The conscious move.
Of course.
Wait.
Adam.
Wait.
Take what's
I would
yours.
give Fabian 10 seconds to respond. He gets 10 seconds to respond. Then Adam.
Yeah, of course the socialist wants us to have more government. Of course the ANCAP wants us to have less government. Except I didn't make the argument from a non-government anarchist perspective. You just randomly said dumb shit to attack ANCAP because you have no fucking argument.
That was
Okay,
point
Adam.
number 3 of 7.
All right, so Fabian sounds a bit like those like Twitter tanky lefties but he just uses market instead of like a communist manifesto or something. It's pretty funny. Anyway, so
Make a fucking argument.
Yeah.
For some people, it's going to be a long night. For some people, it's going to be an awfully short night. So I hope you all are ready for a good interlocuting of ideas, taken with a light heart when it comes to the formation of the show. I just want to throw out there first that almost everybody's going to get kicked out at some point. Everybody's going to be thrown over the rope. Don't take it too personally. The format is mostly for shits and giggles and to include as many people and to enjoy the event. And I want to thank you all for participating in today's event. Just quickly, we'll go around the room, introduce everybody. Let's introduce yourself quickly, and we'll get straight into it because we have a tight schedule today. So we're going to start with Adam Something. Introduce yourself quickly.
Hi, I am Adam Something. Nice to see you all.
Wow.
I have that channel with those videos on YouTube.
He does videos with trains, lots of trains.
How long ago is this?
Sparky.
Hey everybody, I'm Aircraft Sparky. Yeah, here to pull out puppets. Maybe we'll see.
Awesome. Fabian Liberty.
Yeah, I'm Fabian Liberty, anarcho-capitalist. You can find me pretty much everywhere as Fabian Liberty.
Fantastic. Kraut.
Hey, morning. Dylan's editor just woke me up. I don't know what this is.
Fantastic. Lecture fan.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm lecture fan. I'm a lawyer, practicing lawyer. I stream on Twitch at night. I do politics. I'm conservative. Find me on X, YouTube, you name it.
Fantastic. And Vouch, I think.
Yeah, I'm Vouch. I'm here to wrestle up some good discourse.
Wrestle up them discourses. Anarchy. How's it going?
G'day, it is a very tired Australian. I make history videos on YouTube and fight people on Twitter. Hello.
Do you by chance have like a VTube avatar or something you can put up?
No, unfortunately, I do not have a VTuber app.
Okay, well I'll forgive it because you're Australian and that's enough of a burden already. More Perfect Union.
Hey everybody, I'm the More Perfect Union. I sometimes stream on Twitch and other channels. I'm a constitutional conservative, bane of all leftist existence, and glad to be here. By the way, it's nice to see that you managed to avoid getting shot.
So far, at least. Okay, don't count me out yet.
Well,
we've got a great
don't
show
fucking
lined up tonight.
jinx it.
yeah,
What the fuck?
As much as
Knock on wood, jackass.
I don't want to see anybody get hurt.
I'll be fine. No one's ever got hurt in a war. So we're gonna get into the first topic. The first topic today, speaking of war, has to do with American aid to allies and whether the United States should continue to provide aid to allies. This, of course, is being talked about a lot because of the over $100 billion aid package to, while primarily Ukraine, also includes aid to Israel, also includes aid to Taiwan and some security investments in the Indo-Pacific region, primarily put there to counter Chinese naval expansion. And my question to all of you guys is foreign aid a worthy investment from the United States? And you can talk about any of these aid packages or any parts of the recent aid packages that you want to in talking about it. But of course, remember, we have short amounts of time, so try to keep things punchy, okay? And we're going to leave it to the room. Who wants to go first?
I'll do it. Fuck it.
Okay, Sparky.
Alrighty. Plain and simple. We concern ourselves more with other countries' borders than our own. Until we take care of our own borders, no one should get a dime.
Okay, well, there you go. Anybody wants to take that?
I think foreign aid is where it meets where you can make a clearly defined alignment with our objectives and goals as a nation, protecting and projecting peace or democracies or fair trade, reasonable fair trade. I think that you can make a case for that. I think the Ukraine issue, while I'm generally supportive of anybody who is against Russia, I think the problem that a lot of people are starting to feel with Ukraine aid is that there's not enough oversight. The chances of the amount of corruption that exists within their government structure is still pretty significant, and there hasn't been a good accounting for it. So I think we need to have good controls over the audit process, regardless of whoever we provide aid to. And we need to make sure that we have a very finite, defined mission objective before we give anybody money.
Okay. Can we throw it to somebody who maybe takes a different perspective than these two? I don't want to just have all the same people agree.
Oh, it would be my pleasure.
Okay.
No country is an island. We all benefit from global stability. International relations and diplomacy are a preferable substitute to war. There is no way to wall yourself off from the rest of the world, and so long as the rest of the world is a part of the one that we're on, we need to be concerned with its stability. Foreign aid is a great idea. We should do it. We should do lots of it. We should ingratiate countries to ourselves, make ourselves look strong, the shining city on the hill. It's good for America. It's good for everyone. Of course, you got to do it for the right reasons. I think Israel is making particularly poor use of our money right now. But generally speaking, yeah, there's no way to just wall yourself off. The world comes crumbling down due to instability. That hits us too. So we got to be responsible stewards of the power we have, which is, at this moment, quite a bit.
It's very interesting. It's very interesting to see how socialists always have this same notion where conservatives or libertarians or limited government types don't want the government to do something. And so the claim always becomes that, and this goes back, Hayek noticed this, right? It's like, it's as if the socialist believes that we don't want to produce grain, right? The idea is a false dichotomy. It's a fallacious argument that Vosh is making. This idea that there is either we wall ourselves off from the world, or we spend money that is completely wasted in inefficacious ways towards foreign aid, which can be done better via charity and private industry. And by, as More Perfect Union stated, if you're going to have a minimalistic state, you can protect your trade routes and certain things of that nature. But this idea that we're going to spend hundreds of billions on corrupt nations that don't feed their people, and we just kind of do it year over year over year, or we're going to fund never-ending wars without any accountability or almost a complete lack of oversight, to the tune of $500,000 for every upper middle class family, is absurd and stupid.
Okay.
In Europe, we had something that we called the peace dividend, which was when the Cold War ended. We assumed there would never be a large land war in Europe ever again. As a consequence, almost all countries here cut their military budgets, and then we either invested the surplus money into social development, social programs, or we cut taxes. And now we all have egg on our face. There's only very few countries in Europe that didn't cut their military spending, like Greece, Norway, and Poland. They don't have egg on their face. The brutal reality that we in Europe face right now is that we have to build up our militaries and our defenses again, that we have to be able to face off an aggressor country that wants to divide up Europe into spheres of influence.
Also, I'd like to point something out here. I'd like to.
Can we let Kraut finish his statement quick, and then we'll throw it over to Anarchy?
Okay. In this moment of crisis, we have no choice but to ask the Americans to send us weapons because we don't even have enough of our own. Because we neglected defense industry to such a point that it's proving difficult to gear up the factories again to make basic ammunitions. We're not just taking aid from the Americans, we're also taking from the Canadians, the Australians, the Japanese, the Koreans. The Koreans have been especially gracious, giving us 1 million artillery shells for the Ukrainians, and I want to point this out, the aid isn't money. It's literally physical shells, it's guns, it's tanks, stuff like that. And the only counter proposal that I can make to those who criticize it is, yes, we're currently taking your aid, but we will be gearing up our own defense again. We will be coming back up under our 2 feet because it is very clear to us here now that the peace dividend is over.
Right, I'd like to jump in quickly into this.
Quickly though, Anarchy, I did say Anarchy would go next, and then we'll see what he says, and then maybe you. Okay, go.
Okay, rather, I'm going to sort of be a bit testy. Maybe it's just because it's first thing in the morning, but I find it ironic about being lectured on the deliberate reliance on the government to do things, and how self-proclaimed anarcho-capitalists can't recognize what's called a good investment. You've completely defanged the largest geopolitical threat in Europe, or at least heavily damaged it. You've rendered it completely incapable of challenging the United States in the world hegemon game, if you want to use the term, without a single American citizen who didn't volunteer for Ukraine directly dying, not a single active duty US military person beyond special operations who we don't know about being deployed. And you've spent what amounts to just under 2% of your entire budget for 1 year. You've spent less than 20% of your discretionary defense budget to destroy something like 3,000 tanks, 5,000 APCs, kill 100,000 Russians, and you've done basically nothing. You've done nothing. In fact, you've saved money. The other big issue for me is when you're talking about aid to Ukraine in terms of material aid, a lot of the weapons and stuff that the United States has sent have been from their reserves and stockpiles. You are paying people to maintain these. You are paying private companies to maintain these using government money. They are no longer needed to be maintained in those boneyards and those storage facilities because guess what? They're out doing what they were built to do, which is kill Russians. Now, on the next side of things, you're going to need to replace that. Europe is going to need to replace all the aid they've spent.
I do want to say, just do try to tend to wrap it up because we only have so many people.
Okay. In which case, let me put it this way. Long story short, all that money is going back to the private sector. Lockheed Martin, Raytheon, they're going to make a killing. They're going to employ Americans. And those Americans are going to pay taxes. They're going to spend money. They're going to buy shit. And that's going to stimulate the American economy. This is a net benefit on every level for the Americans, even if you take out all the other factors. It's just a win.
After Adam something, may I respond to this absurd retard attempting to explain economics?
Adam, I'm going to ask to you wait a moment. We'll have Fabian just directly respond to make it easier. Okay.
Have fun.
Yeah. Super quick, right? So the idea that you attack the idea of an ANCAP being anti-war to be pro-war for Lockheed Martin really shows that you don't know what ANCAP is. But setting all of that aside, the idea that it is a good investment, that we can look at how much money is spent and then calculate it afterwards is, a very, very poor misunderstanding of economic theory. The market is the best way to allocate resources. The market is the one that has price control. The state cannot solve the economic calculation problem. The state is incapable of solving the local knowledge problem. And so that money is going to be wasted. And of course, it's going to end up in the coffers of fucking Lockheed Martin, and no ANCAP or most Americans fucking want that. And the idea that, oh, well, don't worry, it'll create jobs. I mean, that might work. Job creation might work on fucking 1980s and 1990s conservatives that would vote for this dumb idea of like, it'll create jobs, but it doesn't work on me, buddy. Like, no.
Private economy enjoys
war.
when private corporations make profits.
Okay, so Anarchy, if you wanted to respond to that, we can give you an opportunity to respond to that, or we can just throw it straight over to Adam.
State money. Like, shut up. Like, so stupid.
No, it's a straightforward calculation. The United States is spending, proportion to what it has, nothing. Absolutely nothing. It's barely spending anything out of its total budget. And what it's generating in terms of a geopolitical result, you're getting your money's worth easily. And yeah, sure, you can talk about the dubious morality.
It's so like it's just
it's
look,
on.
you don't
We've got
know that.
photographs. We've got photographs of.
Can I jump in on this?
That's not how basic economics works, dude. Like,
Okay, wait a second. Okay, Adam, something. I love you, but I'm gonna have Vosh quickly comment. Then I'm throwing it to you. It's just
then to my handsome,
no
friend Adam something, to whom I cede every moment but this one. If we're going to center the discussion, it should be on reality, not fantasy. Every country on the world has a state. Every country in the world's state manages its own resources, including war. The idea that the argument here would be about, oh, what if the private sector did for it? What if the market decided? Shut up. The market decided. The system exists. We live in a global economy. Turns out corporations benefit from a state that protects them.
That's not an argument. Like, make an actual argument.
Defended. The argument that I'm making is that you don't have one. What is this? Like, can you point to any place in the world where the state has subsistence?
Hey, dumbass. I didn't bring it to that.
We only have so much time.
Make an argument.
Wait. We only have so much time.
Just make an argument.
Bosch finish his question. And then I'll give you Fabian, and I'm so sorry, like 10, 50 seconds to respond. Then I have to throw it to Adam.
I'm feeling up my crystal ball right now, and I'm foreseeing 57 questions that are answered. But what if we let the private market do more in some abstract, nebulous way that's never been done because it doesn't work? I cede everything to Adam. Somebody with something interesting to say on the subject.
Yeah,
well,
I ceded.
Of course.
I see it.
Of course.
The conscious move.
Of course.
Wait.
10
seconds.
I would give Fabian 10 seconds to respond. He gets 10 seconds to respond, then Adam.
Yeah, of course the socialist wants us to have more government. Of course the Ancap wants us to have less government. Except I didn't make the argument from a non-government anarchist perspective. You just randomly said dumb shit to attack Ancap because you have no fucking argument.
That was point number 3 of 7.
All right, so Fabian sounds a bit like those like Twitter tanky lefties but he just uses market instead of like a communist manifesto or something. It's pretty funny. Anyway, so
make a fucking argument.
Yeah, I'm on it. Okay, so just be patient. So the arguments for supporting Ukraine, for example, from the pure business perspective, I mean, I think it's a no-brainer, right? So one of the main export materials of the U.S. is security and stability, which the U.S. accomplishes through its military, and this, of course, has a number of easy to see positive business effects. Peace and stability, turns out, is good for a business. It is good for investment, right? This is a no-brainer. Also, the Ukraine war just happens to be a great advertisement for the U.S. weapons industry. You know, when you see those thousands of Russian hardware burning, just like torched by not even top-notch U.S. hardware, but like just like 20, 30-year-old stuff. That's great for the U.S. economy. Now, you might be salty about the fact that I don't know, Raytheon or whatever, or like very heavily state adjacent / these like mammoth corporations. But you know, that's how the economy works currently. That's how you achieve growth. You know, so if you're not some like unless you're some kind of a degrowth weirdo, then you should be happy about this, right? The other thing is weapon aid. One second. Weapon aid. When they say, okay, we sent Ukraine, $5 billion worth of aid, that's not $5 billion. That's $5 billion worth of aid calculated based on the pre-existing stuff that you guys send them, right? So if we send them like 500 M113 APCs or something, well, then that's calculated into a dollar-based number. Even though those vehicles, they have been used by the U.S. military before, they've been retired, they have served their time, and now they're just passing them off to someone. That comes out as a monetary item on a budget sheet. Meanwhile, in reality, it doesn't really mean an actual expense for the U.S.
Okay, sorry, wait 1 second. I need to take a pro-business position as well. Hippy Dippy has made one change financially, and that is in between topics, the number one donor between topics will be able to ask the cast one question. If I'm going to bring back Hippy Dippy and herd these cats, I'm going to make money. I'm demonetized, okay? Continuing, I want to throw it over to, I'm sorry, Fabian, but you got a lot of back and forth. I want to make sure Lecture Fan gets to talk. Lecture Fan, and then Kraut, and I have MPU written. Don't worry.
Well, I think this whole discussion is kind of missing the main point. I mean, Vosh started off by saying, oh, foreign aid, good, it can be good. And it's like, Well, yeah, we've always done foreign aid. People always forget the entire reason we even have a federal government is to handle military foreign policy. But of course, nobody addressed aircraft Sparky's perfectly reasonable point, more perfect union's perfectly reasonable point, and so you're just glossing over these points where it's like, oh yeah, foreign aid good, but it's like we're broke for one, we don't have any money. Number two, everybody sort of agrees with that, and the Australian guy, Anna Markey, was perfectly correct to say it's a drop in the bucket. We spend $100 billion on Ukraine. We spend over $6 trillion on a federal budget. So it is a drop in the bucket. But you've got a problem here where we're broke. There's inflation out of control. We don't have our own border secure. So you can say that foreign aid is good. And I support foreign aid when it can be afforded, when we can pay for it, when it benefits United States national security, when foreign aid can be used to establish and prolong American military dominance, economic dominance, cultural dominance. So foreign aid can absolutely be good. But you're simply not going to get it with a GOP Congress, which we have right now, if you guys don't address the border and you left this, oh yeah, great, yeah, more foreign aid, and let's just leave the border open and let's not do anything to try to balance the budget. That's a loser argument.
How is the U.S. broke? Can you enlighten us, please?
Yeah, we're $34 trillion in debt and we're running $2 trillion deficits every year, and Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security are going bankrupt in 8 years, if you didn't know.
I just wanted to comment on the idea that we should let the markets decide which country deserves military aid and which one doesn't. There was a time in which that was actually legal and permitted before the First World War. Corporations, companies, you name it, could go out there into a conflict zone and decide, hey, we want to support this certain party in a war because we want that party to win. There's a very famous example of this. The British textile and cotton weaving industry bought a warship for the Confederacy, wanted the Confederacy to win the Civil War because slavery was very profitable for their industry and they wanted to keep the profits of that. Another example is not so famous.
And the French helped us in the revolution. Like, what the fuck is your point?
A group, well, the French were a government and not a corporation. A group of Wall Street bankers gave huge war loans to the Japanese in the Japanese-Russian War because they wanted Korean railroads concessions.
Yeah, massive corporate, like you ever read War is Hell by Smedley Butler?
When
like massive corporations funded the American.
When you let markets,
you have to calm down a bit, all right? Just let the wine a bit, dude. Holy shit!
The decision to support a country, a conflict partner, is not a market decision. It is a political decision. It is a decision based on values, a decision based on ideas, on ideals, on what you believe in. If you let the market decide which side in the war deserves support, they will pick the side where they can get money out of. Who's to say that the corporation would not support Russia in return for like oil drilling and mining concessions in Siberia?
Also, wait, isn't Russia supposed to be like the nightmare of fucking Ancaps? Like Russia basically stole hundreds of jets when the sanctions hit. Like they just like appropriated them.
Yeah,
they appropriated Western property.
Like
and
Russia.
Hey.
Like,
yeah, sure.
I love how you guys have. I love how you guys have just.
You're now knocking down. And we're now knocking down.
Sounds like you dislike.
We're now knocking down. We're now knocking at Russia.
We only have so much time left in this round, so I want to make sure that Adam something gets to finish his statement, and then we get to get anybody that has anything left they want to quickly get out. So.
I go brush my teeth. All right, so Fabian has that nice plague behind him saying property is liberty. Well, then Russia has violated the number one golden rule of Ancapism, I guess. Property. They stole Western property. They just appropriate everything.
Yeah, so I don't like Russia.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, good. So therefore you should be in support of sending Ukraine aid because then
retarded.
No, it's not retarded, really. I mean, if you think that's retarded, I mean, the problem is in your device, dude. Also,
not liking Russia doesn't mean I have to support fucking stealing money from the American people
That's what I want to bring up. One point that I want to address: the unaccountable weapon transfers and corruption. Like, guys, like every fucking piece of equipment that gets sent to Ukraine is documented really, really solidly, and we know where those are. Like, it's not just like you're sending stuff into Ukraine, it fucking disappears. It doesn't work like that, actually. And
I want to add.
Quickly,
I thought I'd be interrupting the other guy, not you.
I want to make sure. I want to make sure after Vosh goes, we go MPU and Sparky because they've been waiting for a little bit.
Alan, can I go quickly and brush?
I just want to say really quickly with respect to like.
Yes,
it's a tough job, Dylan.
Continue. Yeah, sorry, I was telling the crowd he can go brush his teeth. Continue.
Right, hall monitor pass. With regards to the previous topic, it's worth noting that the crisis we're currently having at our southern border is in large part a product of instability that we've either ignored or facilitated in Latin America. Our drug policies and the policies that we've had since lessening it have contributed to the rise and strength of the cartels, the instability in Latin America, a large part of foreign intervention, or at the very least complacency on our part. Likewise, the refugee crisis in Syria, direct product of our meddling. Everything that happened with Assad and his government, his predecessor, we had a lot to do with that. Now, that's not to say that we
so let's
deserve
stay out of that shit.
Oh, hold your horses.
That'd be
No,
a
you're
deal.
learning the wrong lesson. The correct lesson that wise people take from this is that the affairs of other countries and their well-being reflect on our well-being. We're not an island. So if countries near us are prosperous and wealthy, we don't worry about refugees from Canada, do we? So what we should be concerned with is global stability. If we really are that great, and as a lover of America, I think we are, then we should try to see the world through, make it a better place than it was when we were founded, try to ensure, for our sake as well as theirs, that when changes are made, they're for everyone's betterment. Because if other things go poorly, if other countries fall apart, we do pay a price for that, both in the stability of our markets, the stability of our borders. We need to be concerned with their well-being, at least for selfish reasons. Now, humanitarian reasons, I think, are also pretty valid there, but if you're only concerned with the selfish ones, that's something that you should take in consideration.
Global stability, good. We agree. Global stability is good. We can agree on that.
MPU, I believe you've been waiting for quite a while.
Yeah, so I think Vosh would like to, give the world a Coke and teach us all how to sing.
I don't like Coke.
Oh, well. Look, the problem with the southern border is that we have laws on the books that regulate immigration. Those laws are being violated by non-government agencies who bring people across the border. They coach them on how to say that they have a credible fear or threat. They're economic migrants. And they're not asylees, right? They're not asylum seekers. They're not valid asylum claims. 98% plus of the people who come across the southern border, who are from Latin American countries, are not valid asylum seekers. And then on top of that, we have hundreds, if not thousands, of people who have come across the border who are known. They're known to be affiliated with terror organizations. We have tens of thousands. I don't know. I think there was a Hamas person who tried to come through the northern border just like the last few days.
Got to lock that one down.
There's the Chinese. There are single Chinese men of military age, okay, who are coming through the southern border. You basically just have to get to Mexico, and then you basically can get into the United States for free, right? And then there's they're not even doing DNA testing.
These figures from?
What?
What does
Where are you
this
getting
have to
these
do with
figures from? Like
Ukraine?
98% are economic migrants and not asylums. Like, where are you getting those figures from?
Did you get it from Facebook or something?
No, 98% of the people who go through asylum. This is what the federal government puts out. Okay.
Okay, yeah, but are they either? Is there either such a giant crisis that they can't be documented at all?
I gotta put a pin on.
Or do we know exactly the percentage?
The time has ran out, and we do have a bunch of people waiting. Obviously, we're going through a bunch of people today, so I do need to do the 2 kicks, and I have gotten who is being kicked this round. So I'm gonna throw it out. I'll throw it out there, and I'm very sorry, Anarchy. This round, the judges have decided that you have been eliminated, probably because of your Australianness. They are slightly bigoted. I am very sorry. I hope to see you next time. You have a good one, okay, man?
Fair enough.
Okay, bye-bye. Bye-bye. I love you. We're going to play Hell Let Loose later. Bye. Okay.
Be well.
And the other one is Sparky. I'm very sorry, Sparky. You were thrown over the top rope.
So Sparky made the best point.
Awesome.
Sparky, you made the best point of anybody on this topic, by the way.
And I got to talk the least. That's okay. Thank you for having me. Have a good night.
Okay,
You also have the balls open.
Yeah, he did have the balls open, and I do respect that.
I'm just throwing that
out there.
No,
Yeah.
that was good. That's respectful.
By the way, apparently the judge told me it wasn't an easy decision. They liked everybody. Okay, so, we're bringing in 2 more people. It is going to be Chud Logic and Alex Stein. if any of you are familiar with Alex Stein from his AOC antics or his new show that he has. By the way, if anybody wants to get the mid-portion questions, you donate now. Large donations will be coming up after the next break. We'll be asking the hosts, the guests today, those questions submitted by the viewers. Now we're going to continue where we left off. Who wants to pick us back up?
Oh, same topic.
Yeah, same topic, but quickly. I'll have Chud Logic. I guess.
Okay, let me cut to the chase. Okay, it's all fucking boring foreign policy shit. Okay, Dylan, right? Very rich that you come up with this topic, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When allegedly you went to Ukraine on the Ukrainian dime to run through Ukrainian pussy. Answer to that.
True. It was pussy, actually.
How many whores have you run through?
Progressive.
I lost count, of course.
Okay.
Yeah. Dylan's been running through those war widows like a goddamn racer.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, sorry, your house got blown up. Come around my place and you can stay here for a little bit. Don't worry about it.
Thank you, Chud Logic, for coming, and thank you, Alex Stein, for coming on today. So who wants to actually pick us back up?
No, I mean, I think that's a fair point that foreign aid has only become a controversial topic because conservatives have pointed out how hypocritical and preposterous it is to spend hundreds of billions on other countries when we have a wide open border. That's the only reason this is controversial. The United States has utilized foreign aid for our benefit, to do what's best for America, to serve our interests, to promote American value. We've done that for decades, for centuries. It's been fine. The only reason it's a controversy now is because the Democrats and Joe Biden and all these leftist organizations have a wide open border, and More Perfect Union is 100% right. These are all fraudulent asylum claims that the system's being abused. These NGOs are training these people how to file fraudulent claims. Joe Biden's administration, the Democrats, literally just gave one of these fraudulent asylum claimants a court date in 2030, and they're not going to show up. And when they do show up, 98% of them get denied, and then they're here and they've got babies and everything else. That's the only reason this topic's even a controversial topic right now.
Hey, I've got a quick question, by the way, Lecture. No, sincere question. Lecture, if it was possible, so we spend a lot of money protecting our southern border as it is. If it was possible to spend that amount of money investing in a variety of Latin American countries, Mexico, Colombia, whatever else, and in the long term, say in 5 to 10 years, the money that we invest in foreign aid, that we give them in foreign aid, could contribute to the betterment of conditions in those countries to the point where they don't really have that many migrant trains coming up on north. You know, we could make them want to live in their countries. If that could be done, would you prefer that? Do you think that'd be a good run forward?
Sure. I just don't think that can be done. That's been tried. We've been trying to help those countries. And it's not just the Latin American countries that are in these. We have people from over 120 different countries crossing our border just this year alone. And so if that was possible, if we could do that and we'd get a wonderful, wonderful result, then who wouldn't support it? It's a wonderful result. There's no more illegal aliens. That's
I just have to throw in
won't.
That, like,
it's really fucking really weird that like you guys that like you're just two different socialists that want to spend the American dollar on different fucking things. How about we just end the fucking drug war and then the fucking cartels and so much of the crime that is in many of these South American countries
well, hold on. I want to end the drug war.
Don't have nowhere near as much funding, and like we can have stability by just not violating people's rights. You don't have to spend a fucking dollar. You can just stop violating people's rights, and you'll save money and stabilize South America. Like, can we just do that without spending anybody's money?
We're starting to go a little bit off topic, but I am interested to see Lecture Fan respond to that, just because I'm interested to see the two conservatives go at it over the drug war.
Well,
more conservative on that side.
Fabian's saying that I support a bunch of government spending. It's like, no, I believe in across the board, massive spending cuts at the federal level, massive spending cuts to where we're running a surplus. You're saying, oh, you support the United States government doing the number one thing it's supposed to do, which is military and foreign policy. Oh, you're a socialist. How stupid.
Okay, so I gotta throw this over to there's people waiting.
Yes,
so
you support a portion of the market being captured by the state. Socialist.
Sorry, I gotta make sure we have enough time for everybody. Kraut, you've been waiting a bit. I also have Adam, MPU, and Alex. I put you on the list because you just haven't said anything yet.
Okay, Britain is currently going through a cost of living crisis, the worst since the 1970s, as well as a migration crisis as well. Poland went through a constitutional crisis in the last few years. Italy is going through a migration crisis. Lots of crises politically across Europe, cost of living crisis mainly. Lots of issues to deal with. Yet still, despite these crises, we've all somehow found the political will to also provide military aid to Ukraine. When figures on the American far right say that they want to condition military aid to Ukraine upon something border. It just doesn't come across as sincere. It comes across like an excuse, as if they're just deliberately attaching something completely non-related to an issue. It sounds like an excuse.
There's no American far right represented here. Please stop.
I'm not talking about you.
Okay. Are we talking about the border? So we're talking about the border crisis?
We were talking about how Ukraine is tied to.
I also don't see. I also don't see how they're the same. Is there like a Mexican army invading Texas, annexing people?
No, guys, listen. I live in Dallas. No, I live in Dallas, and what's going on is a lot of sex trafficking. I see a lot of children that are actually, their parents are paying money to the cartel so they can come over here. So this is a business. This is not like, oh, just fuddy-duddy, I'm a refuge, my country stinks. As a matter of fact, you can even go look up the trucks that are full of a lot of these people, because they come across the border with nothing, but they pay other coyotes to actually carry some of their belongings across the border. So this is a planned invasion by the cartel, the most powerful mafia group in the world, here to destabilize America. Because look, Japan doesn't have this problem. North Korea doesn't have this problem.
Japan's doing great right now. That's true. Model of economic and social success. If they let more immigrants in, they might have actually
talk about who's really behind this trafficking. Okay, Alex, I know you probably don't want to call it out, because who's really behind the coyotes?
We need everybody.
The Japanese. They're trying to. They're angry.
Well, it starts with a J. It's J. Let's be real.
I'm gonna start muting.
Am I right, Alex?
Okay, that was the first one I muted. It was Chud. I'll start muting everyone else. I chose Chud first because I know he can take it. Okay, Alex. I want to let you finish your point, and then we have people on a list to go to. I want to make sure we get to Adam and MPU, but Alex, I want to make sure you get to finish your point uninterrupted.
Well, and just to Vosh real quick, I would just say that the culture in Japan and the safety, and a country like South Korea or North Korea, I believe, is safe if you're not getting killed by a dictator. I'm just saying there's other countries that don't just allow every Nigerian ex-rapist into their country. And if you think that's a joke, there are literally people here that have been convicted of rape that are coming across here that don't have to go through any sort of paperwork. Yet if I wanted to leave, I have to have my passport. I just went out of the country to Mexico. I had to spend 4 hours in customs nearly. So I'm just saying, why do I have to do all that? They don't have to be vaccinated. You know, they're just held to a different standard than an American citizen. So what's happening is a foreign invasion.
Wait, you got vaccinated?
Can I ask you, Alex?
No, I didn't. But I'm.
Oh,
just
then you
saying.
don't have to. What do you? Well, then what are you complaining about?
But
A lot of people. You're saying nobody lost their job or nobody couldn't travel without a
Well,
vaccine.
you just said they don't have to be vaccinated, like you were whining you had to, and it turns out you haven't. So, like, what's the issue? You're like a Mexican immigrant in terms of your Fauci out.
Now we're arguing semantics. I'm just saying at one point you know that it was an obligation to.
Now we're arguing epidemiology.
He's calling you a hypocrite.
Okay, before
we don't have to argue vaccine. I'm just saying they don't have to. They don't have to have a passport. Why do I have to have a passport?
Let's be clear. The topic is, let's bring it back over to this being tied to Ukraine. I wanted to throw this back to the people on the list. I want to throw it over to Adam. What do you think about the idea?
Also was Israel, you know. You think the left just
also,
forced it to Ukraine?
Yeah, can we get into
because
Israel?
no one wants to fucking
Israel,
support.
I've got a really important question to ask. This is important. This is important. This is important.
1 second.
This is important. Wait, so listen, okay?
Muted, so I'd like to mute him again because it's fun. Adam, something.
What the fuck,
you're
bro?
on the list. You've been waiting. I wanted to make sure you got a chance to speak, and then we should move over to Israel and Gaza and talk about that a little bit. But of course, I made it Ukraine because I can. Adam.
All right, sure, thank you. So, Alex, first off, hey, how's Russia doing in NATO? You know, I've heard you. Did you have to
they wanted to join a long time ago. And first of all, let me tell you something. I'm the smartest pimp on this panel.
Right?
I'm the smartest pimp on this panel. So yes, I've misspoke before. I have misspoke before, but I'm still the biggest pimp here. Yes, I am the biggest pimp here.
Do you also sex traffic?
I am, I'm a pimp on a blimp. I got these clothes on deck.
When he said he saw all the trafficking in Dallas, like he was seeing it from like a first person, like he was actually doing.
Alex Stein and Andrew Tate working together to beat the cartel.
All right.
Dude,
so first, just to address.
We only have so much time. So Adam, now that you're done dunking on him.
Okay, so just to quickly address some points. So Japan is not a good example in terms of immigration, or Korea. Both of those countries are dying as we speak, right? So let's not bring it up. Also,
give me a break.
It's my turn. So anyway, and like I noticed that like our sort of opponents, like people on the right here, like their arguments are basically just variations of distilled boomer Facebook posts. So that's a bit disappointing. Otherwise, in terms of the immigration and the southern border, and in terms of America, like as a European, I just want to share like a quick few lines of a banger song I've heard recently. It goes. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free, the wretched refuse of your teeming shore. Send these homeless tempest-tossed to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door. I think it's a great song, but like, I don't know.
Never
I don't
should
know
have
why.
took that Frenchie statue.
Yeah, I know, right? So like, so this is the big contradiction for me, from my perspective, because like America is all about land of the free, go there, you can make it. Meanwhile, conservatives are hell bent on turning America into this like little walled garden, sort of white majority, sort of.
No,
Yeah.
it's
So
not.
now we
Wait,
don't
wait.
have. Wait. I want to make sure this goes to MPU because he wants to talk and he's been on the list for a while. And then I want
Right.
to throw it over to Chud because Chud has started a protest movement in my chat about being muted. So I want to make sure he gets recognized as an oppressed person. So
Free
MPU?
Chud. Hashtag free Chud.
Yeah, how have I not been muted, but Chud has twice? Like that's just not fair.
So yeah, to kind of get to your point, America has probably the most generous immigration policy of any country on the world. If you step across the border without permission in Mexico, they lock you up. Okay, that's it. You get locked up. Okay, we have over 1 million people entered this country through a legal process, and we have under the Biden administration close to 8 million thus far illegals that have crossed, many of whom are convicted felons. They've been deported once, twice, 3 or more times. Okay, and they're still coming across, and the president or the current administration has done nothing to quell that tide. They just simply make it easier. They made an app making it easier for people to come in, and then they just simply change the terminology around so these people can have quote unquote legal status while they're waiting for up to 10 years, as Lecture Fan put out a few minutes ago. The cartels, this is not about the war on drugs, Fabian, with all due respect. I get where you come from as a libertarian, that there's no real federal rule or federal control for drug policy, or they shouldn't. That's your take, right? But the problem is that the cartels are making as much.
No, I don't do
more
univariate analysis. I'm not a boomer con.
I don't care. Okay. The point is that the cartels are making as much or more money trafficking in human bodies, okay, than they do in drug sales, right? So let's just put it out there. If we build up South America, it's not going to keep.
Do you deny that the problem would be lessened? Do you deny that the problem would be lessened if we stop the war on drugs? Yes or no?
No, I don't think it will.
Okay. So you believe that the cartel will make the exact same amount of money?
I just wanted.
Will the cartel make more, or the cartel have more or less power?
Before we delve into the war on drugs,
the cartels have.
Wait. I'm asking you both to wait. We're delving into a totally separate topic now, and I want to make sure we pull it back a little bit. And Shud has been waiting. He says he's oppressed. I want to give him a platform as a progressive. I give oppressed people platforms. Chud, what do you have to say?
Yes. Well, I tried to make it about Ukraine, but Dylan wasn't interested in exploring it.
Israel.
I invite you to make your conclusions about that. Well, no, I asked you about what was going on in Ukraine, but that doesn't matter. The only thing I wanted to say, maybe this can kick off the Israel conversation. Why is it that America needs to give money to Israel? Because surely the Zionists are, more on top of that already, surely.
Oh, that's an easy question because Israel's the most legitimate country in the Middle East.
Oh, we should get the cartels to give them the money.
They're our best ally.
They have the money.
They've been the most wonderful ally. They help us fight terrorism. They're the indigenous people of that land, subject to horrible radical Islamic extremism. You've got Americans that were captured by Hamas. Israel's our best ally. They're one of the greatest countries on earth. Full support for Israel.
How the fuck do you maintain we shouldn't be giving money to Ukraine? But you say that?
Lecture Fans in favor of.
I have an idea
as well.
Okay. So you're just.
I'm in favor of balancing.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
I'm in favor of balance. I'm in favor of balancing the budget, and then once
That's
balance the
fine.
budget, then you can send it to Ukraine.
Okay, but you don't need to do that first to send money to Israel, like Israel special or something.
I do think Israel's different from Ukraine, and I'm so proud of the Republicans and conservative movement. The conservative movement has come out strong in support of Israel, despite the non-support for Ukraine. And I think there is a difference between Israel and Ukraine, and I'm so happy to see the Republicans and the conservatives full.
It really makes you wonder if the
money being
deferring
used
to immigration thing was actually not an issue, and it's just a way of avoiding the actual topic. You know,
obviously.
That's the reality. It's the reality in Congress.
It's always a proxy issue. It's like when they say we need to.
Can I ask that around the room? Do people think that the tying of immigration to the foreign aid bill is about solving immigration, or is it about killing the Ukraine Israel
Killing the Ukraine
bill?
bill. Killing the
killing the bill.
It's about neither. It's about fucking politicians and dumb fucking conservatives that follow their fucking coattails on Twitter instead of actually thinking for a goddamn moment. And politicians just want something to browbeat and beat their fucking chest about. Like the idea that these two things are the same in this giant complex fucking budget is ludicrous. It's a way to get to go, why are we spending money over there when we should be spending money at home? And it's like, or we could just stop spending money on shit that makes the problem worse. But there's no fucking common sense
theory about this, by the way. I've actually a nice, neatly packaged theory. Let's see what you think. So the GOP seems to support aid to Israel unconditionally, basically, and they seem to drag their feet on Ukraine, right? They're tying it to the border stuff. So since the GOP has been getting more and more far right, so on one hand we have Israel, which is which is led by a far right government, aiming to ethnically cleanse the Gaza Strip and create an ethno state, and inside Israel, as it's been happening on the West Bank, for example. And on the other hand, we have Ukraine, a liberal democracy fighting against a similarly far right invasion force, a traditional sort of very far right, traditional conservative, etc., Christian fascist almost government, Russia, right? And the GOP is not really in favor of supporting the Ukrainians against that, right? So I see a kind of strange pattern here that like fascist invasion done by against the liberal democracy, we don't support liberal democracy, and then invasion and ethnic cleansing by a.
But wait, Lexifan doesn't want to support Russia.
Lexifan
doesn't want to give money to Russia. That would be the equivalent.
Can you define far right? You used far right 4 times as a term.
When a person is bad.
Wait.
Of course.
People have asked a question. Can we have one? So first,
can I quickly respond to the?
Oh, sorry. Do you want to do that question instead?
Okay. Yeah, just the random journalism slur. Like, what the fuck is far right?
Just a quick response. Yes, so far right would be Russia, for example, a hyper-nationalist, sort of very traditional.
That's an example. Can you give a definition?
Far right, sure. So the far right is a sort of also on the is characterized. I can give you characteristics. So it's characterized by sort of hyper nationalism, sort of a very sort of hyper masculinized culture and state ethos. Is sort of looking back to a great future and sort of eulogizing a great future, and generally thinking that degeneracy from certain sources, certain ethnic groups or
is that Alex Stein? That makes Alex Stein.
You just described.
That makes Alex Stein far right. Are you saying Alex Stein is far right? Are you saying Alex Stein is far right?
Oh, I mean,
the only one here.
It's a meaningless definition.
I mean,
Alex Stein is a humble patriot, from what I've heard.
Yeah.
100%. But first of all, let me just say
he supports cartel business. He can't be an American chauvinist.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly right, because I have to tip the strippers. I mean, and that's one thing that everybody needs to realize. Idolizing a politician is like thinking the stripper actually likes you. None of these politicians like us. They don't care about us. They're never going to solve our problems, especially Vladimir Zelensky, or Joe Biden, or even, believe it or not, Donald Trump is not perfect, even though I love the man, and he, likes to grab him by the what, just like I do when I'm at the strip club with the sex trafficking victims. But my point is, I really don't like aid to either of them. I mean, I want to help out Israel, of course, but then also Israel kills 3 of their own hostages that are waving white flags. That makes me kind of feel like maybe we should be shooting less guns at each other, and maybe less innocent people will get shot. So, I mean, I know that sounds crazy, but I'm very anti-war.
Wait. Do you want a peace agreement?
Oh, of course, and I think that's what everybody wants, but I don't understand why. But this is the problem. Is it going to be a 2 states? Is it going to be a 2 states?
I can't hear.
Well, this is what they say.
Kraut. Let me hear. Kraut, what's your question?
With who do you want to make peace? Because all the
people.
This
is what they say. They would say that it would be a 2-state solution, but I don't know if that's even possible.
How do you make peace in Ukraine?
Another 2-state solution. I mean, you guys have the Donbass region, and then
you have Russia and Ukraine.
Do you know what they should have just agreed with Vladimir Zelensky. I mean, with Vladimir Putin at the beginning.
Do you know what the Russian position is?
They want the Donbass region.
No,
Yeah.
they still insist
position
to
is
this day.
over here.
To this day, they still insist on all of Ukraine. They
Well,
have
let them
no
have it. Who
idea.
gives a damn?
Why should
Ukraine's
they?
fake
True.
anyway.
No,
And what else?
Yes.
no.
Space.
This is woke garbage.
Look
Okay,
at
listen.
Dylan.
Russia's borders were assigned at birth in 1993. They signed a treatise. You will never have the Donbass. Like this idea that Russia can just change its borders, based on what? You know, like a woke doctor? No, ridiculous. There are two states, Ukraine and Russia. They have tightly defined, biologically ordained borders. And what Russia's been doing lately is a ridiculous postmodern attempt at subverting the traditional Ukraine-Russia border with this, I don't know, this what, like cry bullying? Ridiculous. No, I fully support whatever aid is necessary to return Ukraine and Russia to their biologically ordained status.
They're trying to
Where's
change
that
the
stop?
Let
Donbass.
me say this. Let me say this.
You
If
said
a
whatever's
9-year-old can
necessary.
biologically, if a 9-year-old can biologically change their sex, then I think Russia can biologically change their border.
So when does the country
Supporting
get to,
Lockheed
so
Martin
how does the country get
Inquisition
to,
against the
how
9-year-old.
do you get to decide which country does get to exist and which one doesn't? Where?
Well, it's
how
simple.
do
You played a video
decide-
game. Have you ever played a video game before or a
So
board
you
game?
want to live in a world of like
Whoever has more
destroying
resources and more
rights.
guns usually
Point
wins.
makes
So you really
Video
want to
game of
you
life.
really want to enter a dog eat dog world?
Um,
We already
We're
in
living
it.
in
We're
one.
already in it.
We're
We're
not.
in it, bud.
He's already in
You
it
don't
in
get to
Dallas.
work 90 years and sit
We're
in a
only in it
gross
if we allow it to
apartment.
happen.
Trust me,
We're
you've been
only in
eaten
it
by the
because-
dog already. You already got those cat ears. You've already been eaten. You know it's dog eat dog. I mean, that's how it already is.
So you want to
we
give
all
up
need to
all
run
the
away to the
diplomatic
beach at
agreements
this
we
point.
have, all the agreements, everything else, and just let everyone do whatever the fuck they want. Just invade, conflict, and everything.
Well, isn't that
No,
what
of
Russia?
course
Because you
I don't
know
want
how
that.
much
I don't
frozen
think it's
conflict there are.
interventionist. I don't want them to fight. I'm just saying, it's a futile fight in the Ukraine, and we're just giving them money.
Why
They
is it
need to come
futile?
to an agreement.
Why is it futile?
Because they're not going to beat Russia in a war. It's going to be like Vietnam or the
Why
war
do
in
you think
Iraq.
they're?
But
How is it
Vietnam
going
won.
to be
I don't think modern
Vietnam?
day- I don't think
Russia
you can win a
invaded
modern day
Ukraine.
war.
Can we pause for a second? I just wanted to. I'm curious for my own. Who's Vietnam in the Vietnam analogy?
Well, I guess you'd say Russia's America in the Vietnam analogy, but they would just
Would
still
they
go.
be Vietnam in the Vietnam analogy, or?
Vietnam won.
Well,
Can you
Ukraine,
show me
I
on a
know.
map where Vietnam is?
What I'm sitting at, probably not. Honestly, I mean, what do I look like? You probably couldn't either, dude. I'm telling you, you get a map of 50 states. It takes you a couple tries.
Well,
to
you
probably
can
name
you
them
can
all.
tell because
And I've looked through
famously
them all.
America annexed the Donbass portion of Vietnam back in '73.
I'm just saying, regardless, guys, a
What the
modern
fuck
day
is
war
this?
doesn't have winners and losers. I mean, I guess you could say the Taliban beat America, but I guess that's
It
just what
has
they're gonna do. They're
losers.
just going to stay there.
It's the
Well,
people
they'll
that
just stay
die.
there and fight forever, but it's just, it
That's
seems
so true. For
As America and
People
Russia just
dying in
keep
war is
funding and
bad. I
fueling
can
war.
agree.
It's right. It's the people that keep dying.
No
It's
war has ever
the
had
Russian
winners.
soldiers that get conscripted to go die in Ukraine, and it's the Ukrainians that are dying as we continuously fund it because we have some fucking ego about this vague notion of stability, as if America is this paragon of fucking stability, as if they haven't
Ukrainians
toppled and
will decide
destabilized
the
half the
Ukrainians- do you
fucking
think that-
war in the
Wait,
last
wait,
70
wait,
fucking
wait,
years.
Stop. Okay, wait. If you all talk at the same time, I can't hear anything. I know
It's
Voss
absurd.
wanted to talk, and I know Kraut wanted
Can I
to
get
talk.
in?
So,
Can I get in?
and lecture, I'll write your name down. Okay.
Now, I just want to say it's always weird to me how what start out as like measured conversations on budgetary allowances for supporting Ukraine turn into stuff like this nebulous notion of peace. Everything degrades into talking like an anime villain. Like, yeah, I think if you asked your average Ukrainian whether or not they are more stable today or 4 years ago, they could give you a pretty clear answer. I think that global stability is actually a pretty understandable concept. We are the global market. America benefits massively from the world running like a well-oiled clock. As much as some corporations in America benefit from war, and to be sure they do, I'm not suggesting otherwise, for the most part, we benefit from the world being stable. So does Russia, by the way. It's not like the average Russian citizen is doing fantastically right now. Ideally, they would eventually, upgrade to a liberal democracy or, God willing, a socialist one, but, that's one step at a time. But in order for us to, facilitate that process, we have to get our hands dirty with making difficult decisions when it comes to what we do or don't want to support. The idea of, fully abdicating ourselves from global responsibility, it's a child's fantasy. It's like a kid not wanting to get involved in schoolyard drama. We can't help it, and we're the biggest country in the world in terms of power. There's no escaping the responsibility that comes with that.
Again, you set up these false dichotomies of where the idea that we shouldn't be continuously funding a proxy war means that America is this 1910s isolationist country nation before the progressive era, right? Like it's very simple to say, like, you don't have to advocate one extreme over the other. You can very easily say America should be doing everything it can to try and strong arm Ukraine and Russia into peace agreements. And you could be saying the exact same thing about Israel and Hamas or any other conflict in which, for whatever fucking reason, we're funding multiple different sides and we're bleeding money that we shouldn't be spending. And yeah, you say, well, we're all about stability.
Well,
if we're all about stability, then we should be using that power to bring peace, to get stability. Stability is this magic fucking concept that you get to have when it benefits you, and then you get to throw away when it isn't.
Okay.
The Ukraine war is not a proxy war. The Ukraine war is not a proxy war. The Ukrainians are going to continue fighting even if you cut aid. It would be nice if you gave aid. It would be the right thing to do. But if you cut it, the Ukrainians will keep fighting. And the Europeans will keep shipping their aid to Ukraine. It is not a proxy war. I don't know why that always has to be fished.
Like, can I? Sorry, I can't hear the end of. I couldn't hear the end of Kraut's sentence. Could you say that one more time?
I don't know why this idea always has to be brought in that it is a proxy war, that somehow Russia is in some way benevolent here, that somehow misunderstood or something.
No.
Russia is not being misunderstood.
Nobody's
saying Russia's benevolent.
Okay.
Well, it's not a proxy war. It seems like these positions always kind of come adjacent. Because again, it's like you could say this isn't our business or whatever, but then a bunch of other stuff slips out, like vague notion of stability or proxy war. Look, us funding an ally is not crazy. That's not some like wild new overextension of state power. Nations have been doing this since before the nation state even existed. The idea of our ally is under attack, we should help them, goes back as far as organized human civilization. I mean, this is pre-language. So
it's not just about alliance. It's not just about alliance. In the last 20 years, Russia has started 9 wars, or been involved in 9 wars. All of them of aggression. All of them, like in Moldova.
Russia's a naughty boy.
Transnistria.
Nobody here likes Russia.
Chechnya, etc. They have been very aggressive, and their goal is very clearly outlined. They want to turn Europe into a bunch of poker chips, to be divided up into spheres of influence.
So Fabian,
sorry, we got to pause this. We don't have much time left, so I want to make sure the people who have been waiting get to talk. I know MPU has been waiting. I've seen him trying to get in a few times, so I want to make sure MPU gets to talk. And Lecture Fan, I put him on the list, so I got to give him time to talk. I stick by my commitments, and then we'll kick some people out.
Okay, so the situation in Ukraine is a proxy war. The situation in Israel is a proxy war, because when we send our munitions or we send money over there, okay, to achieve an objective, we're letting them do the thing, but we're paying for the thing. Okay. And the problem isn't so much that we are sending military hardware. We're actually paying Ukrainian pensions. This is money that the Congress is, or not the Congress, well, actually, the Congress and administration have sent to Ukraine to actually pay for pensions of government employees and military personnel. So it's not just like there's this clean, pure audit trail. Everybody knows this piece of equipment came in, this piece of equipment was expended. There is a lot of corruption in what's going on in Ukraine. And the people that are saying put a pause on it or put more restriction and control, they just want to understand where everything is going and that it is reasonably accounted for. You can't account for everything. That's not going to happen, right? You're not going to have a complete and total accounting.
Who is paying the bills? Who is paying the bills for Ukrainian? No, who's paying the bills for Ukrainian state employees right now?
The Ukrainian government. Yeah, the Ukrainian government.
The Dutch government opened its budget to the Ukrainian government. Yes,
yeah, sure. So
the Dutch are literally paying right now for all the state employees.
When we send billions of dollars of hardware, material, or money over there,
hardware.
The American
in hardware mostly, but so most of the money transfers are done by the coming from the EU. So the functioning of the Ukrainian state is held up by the EU taxpayers who support this, by the way, not the American taxpayers. America mostly sends hardware, which is calculated as money, but it's hardware. Money is sent mostly by the EU.
Right, we're
let me answer that. Let me rebut that.
Alex, you have to wait
because
money. We're already hit the time, and Lecture Fan is sitting there waiting like.
I want to hear what Alex has got to say.
No,
I just want to say it is money because the biggest industries in America are Raytheon and Halliburton is our military-industrial complex. So we get to give them our old equipment so we can.
Yes, and who runs those? Who runs those companies?
I think a lot of what you see amongst the isolationists on the panel is a result of Americans being wonderfully secure. We've had total security. We've had a great economy. I love that Kraut started out this conversation by basically saying that Trump was right, that Europe was never paying for their own defenses enough, and now Europe is having to ramp up. Trump was right. More Perfect Union brings up a great point about the reason that Ukraine is different from Israel is because Ukraine is corrupt, and the Bidens themselves were involved in corruption in Ukraine. And so that's why there's a whole bunch of questions about sending all of this money there. That's the big issue.
Here, Zelensky is actually related to Biden. It's like a long con, you know? Not a problem with Netanyahu.
Okay, there's one thing that I really want to add in here.
Why that's funny.
The Americans mostly send equipment. They don't send money, they send equipment. And the reason why so many of us here in Europe really want the equipment from America to keep going and keep coming.
Second-hand equipment.
And this is, I'm sad that like none
things
of the
that we could sell,
YouTubers,
like those are assets. Like
it's
property
sad that,
has value.
Laserpig, or one of the military YouTubers, is not here. One of the biggest surprises of this war is just how much superior American weapons are to Russian weapons. It's insane. Like Adam probably saw the videos himself. One single Bradley taking out an entire column of 12 Russian armored vehicles and tanks.
It's pretty insane.
Crazy. It's insane how much superior that equipment is.
And actually,
be careful using the word tank.
In terms of selling, though,
fucking Twitter might get really mad if you use the word tank.
In terms of selling, though, like those things have been sitting in storage for like 20, 30 years with no buyers. But they're still very useful against Russian hardware, which is shit. So if there were buyers for that, I mean, there aren't really any buyers, at least not trustworthy buyers. You don't want like geopolitical enemies or untrustworthy countries buying your stuff because then they'll know their weakness, etc. Right? So what's being transferred to Ukraine has been sitting in storage for 20, 30 years. And one point I quickly want to bring up, when Ukraine hit one of the...
we need to kick people off. I already got the people.
Okay, 20 seconds, all right? So when Ukraine hit that Russian forward helicopter base with the Atacms missile, then that missile was manufactured in 1996. It was just time to decommission that missile, which costs money, which, you have to pay technicians, etc. And instead of decommissioning it, you just ship it to Ukraine, have fun, use it, good luck, and then a bunch of Russian hardware gets smashed.
Right, and then the U.S. turns around, right? And then the military-industrial complex says, well, we have to replenish all of this hardware that we gave away, and then the taxpayers of the United States end up having to pay the bill down the road again with...
It was going to be decommissioned anyway. It was going to be decommissioned in months. It's the same thing.
So I got we're going to be kicking people out, but first, I got a $100 donation so they get to ask a question because they donated money, and I'm a capitalist now, so I make the money. So this is $100 question, and it's it seems to be for lecture fan Alex Stein and NPU. Do you think that General Alden's plan would have been able to reduce loss of life and increase efficiency in the Ukraine-Russia war?
Not familiar with General Alden's plan, whatever the hell that is.
Alex?
No.
NPU?
No.
Okay. Very detailed, but it's a very good plan.
Well, I guess we'll have to do more research. Well, thank you for the $100. That was a great use of your money. You could have, I don't know, saved like a few like very poor children in a third world country, but you did this instead. And I appreciate it. Thank you. Anyway, let's kick the people that are going to get kicked today. The people that are going to get kicked, and this was... Oh, here's the list. I'm very sorry. Adam Kraut, Europeans, kicked out of the conversation.
Finally, sleep.
Kicked out, thrown over the top rope. I'm very sorry. You guys go to bed now. Bye-bye. I love you both.
Bye-bye.
So
farewell, Adam.
Good luck.
The next two that are kicked is Fabian and... Oh, is this true? I can't believe it. Chud. I'm very sorry. One round.
Gutting. That's a shame.
4 people are getting kicked. It's a fucking massacre.
Oh, no.
People didn't know what I had to say about the Jays, clearly. But it's all good. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.